I've obviously made quite a few videos about the upcoming Journey's End patch, but having recently reviewed the official Spoiler Compendium, it dawned on me that despite how many videos I've made, there are actually quite a few things I never actually covered. And so I thought this video would be a good little review of what has been revealed so far about Terraria's final content patch. Obviously this is coming to the PC first, but by all indications, it is eventually going to come for mobile, Switch, and other consoles. So this is relevant to pretty much anyone playing Terraria. So here we go. This is what the official Spoiler Compendium has to say. This was written by Loki. Greetings, Terrarians. Terraria Journey's End has been in development for quite some time, and we have shared a good number of spoilers for what is to come across all of our communication platforms over that time. As we get closer and closer to the finish line, the team thought that it might be a good idea to provide a one-stop shop for all Journey's End spoilers shared thus far, and then to keep that updated as we share more in the run-up to launch. As a reminder, one focus of Journey's End is taking a look at the entire game, top to bottom, to take a fresh look at things that might not feel like we intended, or got left behind by later updates. We are really excited by all the changes, and we cannot wait to hear what you think as well. So without further ado, we present the Terraria Journey's End Spoiler Compendium. And take note, they tell you can click on any of these images to the original post for each spoiler. So if you click on, say, this one down here with the block swap, you'll see the Twitter post that officially announced it way back when. And so just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind in the video description, I'm going to provide a link to this official Spoiler Compendium. So if you want to take a look at it at length at your own pace, you can feel free to do so. So keep in mind I'll have that in the video description. But anyway, without further ado, to use Loki's expression, let's go through these updates. Now this one I know I've covered. This first one here, block swap, it's pretty cool. And even as someone who only has a passing interest in building, I at least usually like making the upgrade from wooden structures eventually to some kind of stonework as I get a little more established with my base. And so this is a really good improvement. As you can see, you can even upgrade the treasure chest, and I'm sure you can upgrade the table and door and all that sort of thing. So it'll save you an absolute boatload of time with this feature in. So this is something that pretty much anyone who builds anything can really look forward to. But moving along, I know I covered this as well, the Void Vault and Void Bag player storage, and this just shows how committed they are to the quality of life upgrades for Journey's End. We obviously already have the piggy bank. You can see it there next to the little vault that you can also build. But this Void Vault is just kind of a flashier version of all of them, and it's really convenient. It's yet another way to keep your game going so you don't have to keep returning to base. It's very good. And it has that purple text effect so you know when things are going into the Void Vault. So again, nice little touch, totally unnecessary by the developers, but just one of those quality of life things that they're including in Journey's End. And then of course kites, this is one of the big features, right? Wind in Journey's End is one of the, I would say, visually game-changing features they're adding. It's not really just a content patch, it's almost like not a new game, but you know what I mean. It's an upgrade to the graphics to the point where it really stands out. You see the trees waving in the wind, the flowers waving, some leaves falling through the sky, and then of course this giant kite, and they've said they're going to have numerous kites. This is just one of them, this wyvern kite. So it looks really good. And then below in the smaller animation you see a windy day with the leaves flying, the vines swinging in the breeze, that sort of thing. So this is really going to have a big impact on just how the game world looks. I think it looks wonderful. And then they throw in this feature here with the different colored leaves, which depending on the biome you're in will change color, and it's pretty dramatic. It's just one of those little pieces of attention to detail that really stands out to me, that they took the time to change even the leaf color. So they're really committed to this windy day vibe, I guess. Next up, and I touched on this a while ago, this is probably not going to affect too many of you, but if you have a Razer Chroma keyboard, you're going to have kind of ambient light color support. And so essentially the multicolor LED Keyboard is going to change the color output depending on the biome. I guess if you're playing late at night in a dark room, it's going to have the biggest effect. It's just one of those subtle things. If you do have one of these devices, it's pretty cool that they're throwing it in. But again, it's probably not going to affect too many people. And next, for I guess the big builder and role player community out there, they're adding the feature where you can sit down. I know NPCs are going to be sitting down, but now the player character can sit as well. You also have new food options. I don't know whether this will be in, any kind of, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, machinima, those animation videos people make where they tell stories using the in-game engine. It just adds that much more role-playing capacity to the game, and they show off these kind of giant ballrooms here. You see it with the crystal chandeliers, and there's a banquet on the table. So that's not really how I play Terraria, but if you're into this sort of thing, or again into those kind of in-game animation videos that some people are really good at, this is just another tool in your arsenal to make those things. So again, just one of those little touch-ups that they're throwing in for Journey's End. Next, we've got player emotes, and I guess this is really just for multiplayer, right? It'd be kind of weird to do it just on your own, unless I guess you're making a video to show other people. But as you can see here, the player character has what looks like the Mega Shark emote right before he blasts this jungle creature to smithereens. So that'll be a nice little fun thing for multiplayer, I suppose. Next, we have this thing they describe as flipping statues. They're adding extra statues, I guess. We already have quite a few statues. And we'll see later how this can factor into things like a throne room. But I know that in the Journey's End revealed trailer, or teaser trailer, they did show that if you place a number of tombstones, mist starts to form, and then some kind of zombie invasion event happens. So they're doing all kinds of weird and wonderful things with statues and tombstones. And this animation certainly is kind of a macabre of, skeletons and whatnot. It's kind of a horror theme, so that's in keeping with what I just mentioned. Next, we've got new biomes, and it's really just a new mini biome. I believe Redigit or Loki have said that this is just one of several new mini biomes that they're throwing in. The Oasis is one that they've been keen to show off, and I can see why. It does look pretty nice, and it'll add some variety to the otherwise fairly boring desert biome. They've also talked about working on the underground desert a lot, so the desert seems to be one of the points of focus. I guess in the course of development, maybe they felt that it was kind of the neglected region of the game, but certainly this Oasis looks really great. I don't know how this will impact fishing, if any at all, but at any rate, I think we can all agree the more the merrier, right? We got some new Oasis plants there sticking out of the water, and I seem to recall from another teaser video that there's some new creatures, little critters walking around the Oasis, so I guess that's a wait and see kind of thing, but I do have somewhat high hopes for the Oasis. Next up is the Goblin Shark, and this is part of the Blood Moon Ocean Fishing event. You see the Goblin Shark leaping out of the water. It's a brand new enemy. It's kind of dramatic. And they've hinted that there are a lot of big rewards to be had if you brave the ocean during a blood moon and are willing to fish. The Journey's End teaser trailer, of course, had a flying nautilus, which is like a snail type thing, and that I think would be the mini boss. But this Goblin Shark is another formidable foe that will make fishing a little difficult if you try to fish during the blood moon. Hopefully, if you are able to defeat him and carry on fishing, you get some good stuff. What exactly you get from blood moon fishing, they haven't really said, but this just is kind of one of those extra challenges that they've thrown in, I guess, as sort of a completionist thing, so that if you're kind of running out of things to do after you beat the Moon Lord, well, maybe you have a try at this. This is another thing they've really enjoyed showing off, and these are the Scarab bombs. They've described it as a new item that will make mining easier. I believe you do acquire this somehow in the underground desert. And it's just this three-way blast, right? You see it digging through the terrain. I don't know how feasible or how practical this is. I'm assuming this is some sort of magic weapon. If it is, it might be a little better to use. If it's some kind of exhaustible item that you have to reacquire, then I'm not sure exactly how helpful it would be to mining, but I guess we'll wait and see. Now this next thing is really cool. It's the Star Cannon version 2, and just look at that. The graphical effects are way better. It seems to be rather powerful at crowd control. There's a lot of damage here, 3-digit damage numbers, so presumably this is a reasonably powerful weapon. And if you've got a sky highway, you can just run along and collect a lot of the ammunition for the Star Cannon. So this might be something worth getting and worth putting to some serious use when it finally hits in the Journey's End patch. It seems like ages ago that I showed this minecarp off. It was, I think, my first video back from my long hiatus. And this is one of the new minecarts you can get in Journey's End. And so they've got the sunglasses deal with it meme going on, but just adding, again, just a little bit of variety to the game. And this is what they do, I guess, to just flesh the game out. And of course, it's a clever pun, right? Minecart, minecarp, carp being a fish. Anyway, I still haven't figured this one out. A work in progress. I'll need to click that link and maybe they describe what's going on. But obviously you've got this kind of mannequin that's attacking the Goblin Tinkerer. Looks like they take off the 3 items of vanity clothing. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but if it's something the player can do to disguise himself, that'd be kind of cool, right? But again, I'll have to read up on that. I'm not really sure what's going on. Just like the Star Cannon version 2, you've got the Celebration Mark II, and I want to say they posted this quite a long time ago, and it's absolutely outrageous. It's, if any of you recall the Geometry Wars game on the Xbox Live Arcade from over 10 years ago, it kind of reminds me of that, right? It's a multicolored, very visually spectacular thing. Whether it's viable or not, I can't really say, but it certainly looks cool. And so that's something we can look forward to. This is another mystery. It's some kind of summoner item, and the damage isn't particularly high, right? You see maybe 13 damage, 11 damage. Maybe this is an early game summon item. It seems to certainly be very agile, and it can attack. Here we're seeing it attack 5 different foes, just target dummies of course, but we're seeing it attack 5 different things. And we have that musical note above the player, so I don't know whether this is some kind of new musical feature that relates to maybe an early game summon, but it's a cool little thing. I mean, even if you just use it as a little pet, right, it seems kind of neat. So I'm looking forward to this one, because I feel like the summoner is something that really only hits its stride quite late in the game. So anything they can throw our way earlier on in the game, hey, I'm happy about that. This one, the Rainbow Trail, just another visual effect for your character. Not really much to say there. Looks kind of cool. I'd like to think maybe you can use dyes to change the color. Maybe, maybe not. This one's a bit of a mystery. I don't know whether this relates to the Blood Moon ocean fishing event, but here we see a player character chumming the water, right? Some kind of fish food or chum that they're chucking into the water, and that's of course the ocean as well. So I don't know whether this has any bearing on the Nautilus or the Goblin Shark that we saw earlier, but clearly something is up with the fishing mechanics in Journey's End, and we're just gonna have to wait and see exactly what this means for fishing. Here we've got glowing bats. I guess this is just kind of a visual thing, a vanity item. It would be nice if it did something, but even if it is just a vanity item, it's pretty darn good vanity item, right? Especially if you're going for a particular theme, kind of undead or vampiric or sorcerer theme, it kind of fits in there, right? So again, just one of those little minor touch-up things. Here we've got new mini-map borders, nothing much to say there, just further customization of your game. New world gen, I've covered this at length, so I don't really want to dwell on it, but they've obviously cleaned up the interface for world and character generation, and here they're showing it off. New splash screens. Again, a very minor tweak, but I guess not an unwelcome one. It's nice to have a little bit of variety as you load the game up, and here we have the Crimson Biome, right? And I guess we can assume we're going to see others as well. They're also advertising new paintings, and for the builders out there, they're throwing you a bone, right? Because Look at all these different paintings. Apparently they're designed by Terraria's beta testers, so we've got everything from kind of hieroglyphics stone to classical painting. So there's a large amount of variety here. If you're really into building, you can, I guess, expand your house and make it a little more distinctive going forward. Here we've got corruption in the final content patch. This is kind of a weird organic sort of furniture set. It's, I guess, good for a wizard's tower, right? Or maybe an underground headquarters if you're into kind of the darker, more brooding, kind of evil wizard theme. This is certainly for you. I particularly like that little grandfather clock. It's very organic looking, right? It's down here on the bottom left. Certainly it's not for everyone though. And then we've got spider furniture. It's probably very niche. It's definitely not for me. It's I'm not sure who this is for, other than maybe someone who just wants to be a little different. Maybe you can put the witch doctor down there, or maybe an NPC that you don't like, you can send them down into your spider furniture land. I don't know. Anyway, carrying on, we got Vortex Furniture. So we got the lunar events will yield a lot of furniture. This is the Vortex. We got Solar Furniture, and that's quite loud, isn't it? It's a little too loud, a little too orange for me, but to each their own. And then this is what I mentioned earlier, the throne room with all these new statues that they're throwing in. You've got a lot of kind of gold furniture, I guess, from the pirate invasion. You've got a lot of statues. You've got a lot of chandeliers and all that. So those of you who are really into building are going to have a field day with some of these new additions, because this looks really good. And then I had a particular video just for this update when they announced it a while back. Bamboo furniture. It's definitely kind of Eastern themed, right? Bamboo. And then if we scroll down, we see just all the different colors you can dye it. And so what we see in this demonstration is certainly not a full demonstration of what it's capable of. You can have it in red, black, white, purple, pretty much any color under the sun. You're going to be able to customize this. And so I think it really will lead to a lot of interesting things. Then we've got High Noon, sort of a cowboy theme thing going on. I don't know whether it's going to be viable late game just to have a little pistol like that, but for role players I guess it's kind of nice, or if you just want to run around in a cowboy outfit. Not my thing though. This next one I quite like, the new biome backgrounds. This one, as much as I like it, I'm not sure it necessarily seems to fit with the art style of other things. It just seems a little off in terms of its art style, but I do like it. It's otherworldly, and it's something I'm going to look forward to if I ever do build an above ground mushroom biome. It just looks cool, even if it doesn't quite fit. And then we've got other demonstrations as well, kind of a more mountainous region of the world. Nothing really too much to explain there. A new hollow background, and then you've got a new ocean background, which is reminiscent to me of Super Mario World or something along those lines. Maybe the Neo Geo era. There's something kind of early 90s about it. Maybe even Sonic the Hedgehog. But yeah, I like the look. It's kind of interesting. It's a little different than what was already there. So just another thing to make the game seem a little more fresh from top to bottom. And then you've got the giant skeleton in the crimson background. You've got a new hollow background with crystals. Again, just to kind of give a fresh coat of paint to the game. And then they mentioned new music tracks, the Windy Day theme, the Town Night theme. I'm not going to play those here. They're pretty easy to find if you want to listen to them. They do fit with the overall soundtrack, I think. I quite like them. And I'm looking forward to listening to them as I play. And then there are things like they mentioned the sawtooth shark and the swordfish are going to be a little less common. That's more of like a gameplay balance thing. You've got world gen changes that they're demonstrating here with the ice next to the desert. Just kind of weird stuff going on, right? And then as they describe world gen wackiness, you've got these enormous underground living trees that are nowhere near the surface. How they would sprout leaves is anyone's guess, but it just makes the world gen a little more variable, a little more unpredictable, and so you might, in the course of your playthrough, be surprised by what you come across. So Again, their goal is to just make the game feel fresher, and I suspect if you're going through the marble biome and you find a tree out of the blue, that's certainly in for a surprise, right? So it's just something different, a new coat of paint, as they said. And then I'm not going to read these. I think you'd probably be better served by reading these yourselves, but there have been a lot of comments on the Discord server for Terraria from Redigit and other developers. A lot of kind of interesting insights. I've mentioned before that Redigit kind of hinted that 1.3.6 would be the final big patch for Terraria. He sounded a little burned out on the game. And it was posts like these on the Discord for Terraria that kind of revealed that before it was officially announced. And so the good thing about these sort of comments as you come across them on Discord is that you kind of get a sneak preview of what's to come. You kind of catch the vibe of the developers, so that's good. But again, you probably want to read these on your own. I don't want to just sit here and read 20 minutes on a wall of text. So just be aware that these are here at the bottom of the Spoiler Compendium. So there's, as you can see as I'm scrolling through, there's just a mountain of information. So if you got a few minutes, sit down and read it. Anyway, that's it. It's not really a news video. I will say that not everything in the Spoiler Compendium was something I've covered in my videos. I missed one or two things, as is easily the case. So it was good to kind of review it and see what they had, because I feel a little more caught up now. Anyway, that's a fair summary of what to expect. So far, they have mentioned that as they release more spoilers, they will post more things to the Spoiler Compendium, so this is not set in stone. It's going to be updated over time. So if you go back 3 months from now, you'll probably find new things in here. Anyway, just wanted to make you guys aware. Thanks for sitting through this spiel, and as new information comes to light, obviously I'll make another video or videos. So stay tuned. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, guys, and I will see you next time.